I think the most important elements are your life's purpose. It can be becoming your best version ever. You get to decide what that looks like, right? There's no outside forces that you need to be pressured by or expectations that you need to meet.
I'm very interested in how did you incorporate this dream? Like, what was the strategy? How did you incorporate it? Did you go as far as hiring a dream manager to sit down with your staff? Did you do more of like a Berghoff exchange program where it was like collaborative conversation? Like, how did you document it? How did you communicate it? How did they communicate it? Like, what if you could actually go through your structure and your infrastructure of incorporating dream management? I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so you're probably going to be super underwhelmed when I tell you my strategy, but it worked. So it was like three components. The first one was the workshop that I already do every year, and so that was big. And that's, I mean, they still do it. It's been years, and it's not even like for my real estate team anymore. It's like anyone, all industries come to this, but my real estate guys still come to this. So there they kind of plan out their dreams for the year. The second thing was I would just meet them one on one and just ask the question from the book, which is, "What dream are you chasing?" Right? And then the third super unscientific method that I used, which was not hiring a dream manager, was just writing their dreams on little 3x5 cards and taping them to my wall so that I saw them every day. And then that would prompt me to remember, oh, that's right. So and so's goal is to buy a house this year. I can ask them how they're doing on this. So and so wanted to lose weight. It was a constant reminder to me to like, oh, ask them how this is going when I see them.
That last part was not that underwhelming, dude. That's actually that was pretty
Yeah,
good.
I guess I just meant like it's super uh, basic, right? There's no tech involved or anything like that. It's just in my face. I need everything in my face or I forget, man. I live by to-do lists and just things in my face, right where I can see them.
Well, I mean, I think it's great because how many managers have sat down and ran the workshop, right? And I guarantee there's a listener right now who's listening and they're like, yeah, this is me. I'm willing to admit it. And I've even done this in the past for sure, where it's like you run the workshop, everyone comes up with their dreams. They even tell you their dreams. And then you don't even ask about it, for the next 6 months, 12 months, right? And it's like, oh, yeah, wasn't one of your dreams this year to do this? How did we do on that? And it's like, we didn't do anything, and nothing happened. And nothing comes of these, workshops sometimes because there's no follow up and there's no intentionality. So, like, you basically have a vision board for your people on your wall. That's what I heard. You know
Yeah.
what their vision is, and you're helping co-create that vision with them. That's how much you care about them, and that really speaks to
Yes.
why they don't want to leave. Um, I would love to get into kind of some of your catchphrases. I love this idea of the best version ever being, 27 personal growth books in one. I love some of these catchphrases and quotes that you like to kind of bring forth. Hope is not a strategy, and you also kind of hit on like, it really seems like you have a hard work component and a component that really brings people to like, hey, hours matter more than talent, and these sorts of ideas. Can you speak to those a little bit? Like, what when you think about the ethos of your brand and what you like to really get people to tap into, what would you say are the most important elements of that for you?
Yeah, I think the most important elements are, look, your life's purpose. It can be becoming your best version ever, and you get to decide what that looks like, right? Like there's no there's no outside forces that you need to be pressured by or expectations that you need to meet. So I mean, you, in the beginning, the book starts off with living a life that others expect of you and why that's a bad idea, and then we just kind of crush that right from the beginning and say, hey, your purpose is actually to become your best version ever, but you get to decide what that looks like, and it gets to change as often as you want it to, right? I mean, for some people, if they can just go surfing every day after work, they're happy. That's their best version ever, and that's good. You talked about hours matter more than talent. I really realized that when I decided to learn to play the drums, right? Because I just think most people think, oh, that's something that people are just born with this talent or they just have a knack for it. And as I was learning every time I would go to learn something new or a new beat, I realized it was just playing it in super slow motion. It's like, okay, this hand goes here, and then the next thing is this foot's going to go. And then it was just slowly speeding it up and speeding it up. And, I just realized that like anything you see someone else doing is evidence that you could do it. They just have way more hours doing it. Right. I just, going back to the anecdotal 10,000 hour rule, right? Like the saying is, if you put 10,000 hours into anything, you're going to be pretty near expert level at it. And so when you see someone who's an expert at something, they just have more hours than you. That's really all it is.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And I think, I have a piano, I'm a pianist, and I think all the time it has nothing to do with, your talent or whatever. Like, you sit down and you practice for hours and hours and hours, and you get good at something. And it's something that I constantly have to remind my kids, my 7-year-old at least, because he's starting to learn. It's like, hey, we got to be patient with yourself and all these things. Someone asked me like, how did you learn this stuff around business? Like, is this just like come easy to you? It's like, nobody pops out of the womb knowing how to run a business. Like, of course not, it's all just hours and experience. Everything that we've learned is hours and experience, right? So nobody's like naturally better at this or that and the other. Just show up and put in the hours. I think that's really good stuff.